Alright, it's the last day of 2022 and we are headed up to Linville Gorge. We're going to drive 105 and then we're going to go hit Brown Mountain on the way out. Have some lunch. I got Steve with me in his Land Cruiser up here in the front. And it is extremely rainy right now. And hopefully the rain is supposed to let up a little bit. So expect lots of mud. So one thing I did, which opened up a lot of view space for the Jeep, is I took off the rear view mirror. With the alu cab behind me, and the alu cab glass is tinted regardless, plus there's a water tank that sits in the bulkhead, so you can't really see anything anyway. So taking the rear view mirror off was extremely helpful for just freeing up a lot of room here in the center. So it's a lot more nice and airy right now with the mirror gone. But we'll see you here in a minute. Alright, so Highway 105 is, people always say, you know, it's a running joke in the area saying that that's where you go to go rock climbing or, you know, like four-wheeling, and you got to have four-wheel drive and 35s and super high clearance. And 105 is, so I've seen everything from Honda Civics up there to, if you go up there in the wintertime, they don't plow it obviously because it's just, it can be high clearance 4x4. It depends on what time of the year you go up there too, because right now towards the end of the year it's all rutted out from people driving it, and it can get rutty. You probably need four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive with a little bit of clearance to do it, but they grade it once a year, so it's still maintained fairly well. If you want to go have fun with it, the best time to go is right after it snowed, but do not go when there's ice because you will slide off and there's a lot of steep declines that you don't want to do with ice. Ask me how I know. But right now it's the last day of the year. Tomorrow is 2023. This part right here to the left was the only technical part of Highway 105. It's a really rutted out uphill climb to the left. Some of the ruts were pretty good, but if you stayed on the inside it was a little bit easier. We obviously chose to take the more technical part because we were definitely capable. Your locker's on. Whoa. So unfortunately this was the majority of Highway 105. Dense fog and dampness everywhere. We didn't see any of the beautiful views that we typically see when we come up here, so the trip was kind of a bust, but we ended up going down to Brown Mountain, and it was the last day Brown Mountain was open for OHV/off-roading, and we had a blast down there. So I'll finish up with 105 here and we'll go to some more exciting stuff on Brown Mountain. Alright guys, if you would, please like and subscribe to the channel. We are only, I believe, 10 people away from 1,000 subscribers, and every subscriber I get helps out. Sorry to bug you, but really means a lot to me and gets more content out. Finally, we arrived at Brown Mountain. Now, Brown Mountain is there and back. You basically drive the OHV trail all the way up to the top of the Brown Mountain, and there's a little loop around with a little overlook, and then you come back down the same trail you went up. It's really wide. There is nothing really scary off camber. There's some very steep grades up and down, and some cross camber spots like coming up here where Steve gets hung up, and we'll explain that here in a second. So Steve's Toyota is all-wheel drive technically. Now it does have a center locker, and that's how Toyotas go from basically all-wheel drive to four-wheel drive, because the center diff lock is going to put half the power to the front wheels, half the power to the rear wheels. Now if you have one front wheel that's in the air and one rear wheel that's in the air, you're technically still going to be stuck without a front locker or a rear locker to transfer that power to the ground and get you out. And that's basically what happened right here. His driver's front tire was hanging off into a ditch, and his passenger rear tire was hanging off enough to not get any traction. So even with the center diff lock on, he's still not getting the traction that he needs to get over this obstacle. Now, if he had a rear locker, he could have just engaged that, and that rear driver's tire would have caught and pulled him up over that. In comparison to my Gladiator, if that was my Gladiator, technically we are triple locked, because when we put it into four-wheel drive, our center's locked, and then we have a front locker and a rear locker. So being triple locked, you know, even if our passenger front tire is the only one that is up on a rock, that will be enough to pull us up and over the obstacle.
No lockers walked in.
It's a cheap thing, man. Here we go.
This is the majority of Brown Mountain. It's just up and down and some steep inclines and declines and a little bit of rock obstacles. It's nothing crazy at all. You can also come here to ride a four-wheeler side by side. There is a little outpost down at the bottom of the hill, and that's where you buy your OHV passes for the day. I believe it's 15 or 20 bucks. I don't remember, but you know, it just helps support the trail. Again, this trail is really good for beginners. It's nothing crazy hard. It's just a very slow going, easy hill climb or mountain climb to the top. little nice scenic loop, and I really forgot about this place. I've been here once before in the tundra, and I remember it being a little bit more difficult, but that was about 3 or 4 years ago when I was still new to all of this, so I assume it was difficult for me. But coming back now with everything we experienced, doing this for 4 years, it was really quite easy, and it was really just laid back and fun. I mean, it was just a nice, calming drive up and down. So we're going to definitely come back here again with some new people and have some fun on this trail again.
2 or 3 years ago. Drove my Tundra all the way up here. I had a metal bumper. I think I was on the factory 33s. I don't have any lockers on, but I got the sway bar disconnected.
All right, we're on top of Brown Mountain. And so far the way up, I'll show you guys the video footage. So far the way up has been really fun. It's a really fun trail. Definitely 4-wheel drive because you need that low gear. A locker will help in the rain, but you don't need one. When I'm off-roading like this, this is what I normally have set up. I normally have the pitch and roll in the gauge cluster, and I normally have the forward cam on the center, and then head back down here. So it's really easy to get lost, not lost, but get on the wrong trail. And I think that's what we did last time. I think we accidentally got on a side-by-side trail. They're pretty well marked now, but 3 years ago I ran this in my full-size Tundra. I think I was still on 33s with the ARB front bumper, but I didn't have any problems with the Tundra. The width and the length actually helped me out in a lot of obstacles. But Brown Mountain, it's a $5 pass to get onto the trail. There's a little outpost at the bottom across the street right there where you just get a $5 pass. If they're open. It's New Year's Eve, the day of New Year's Eve, and they're closed. So we can go online and pay. A lot of people are like, well, I can go now and not pay, but you want to pay. You want to go pay because you want to support this type of trail. Trails are nice and clean. They're maintained. Oh, this is a big rock obstacle up here, I remember. So you want to pay. You want to support this trail being open. So let's watch Steve try and do this without a center diff lock. And looks like he made it up there, no problem. I remember this rock obstacle, but I remember it being more technical. But then again, 3 or 4 years ago, I mean, look, it's probably as tall as my Jeep. But 3 or 4 years ago, I was a lot more of a noob when it came to off-roading. And since I was a noob, everything seemed a lot harder, After 4 years of wheeling and going out to Colorado and Moab and all that, and honing my skills and building a rig and building it better, and then getting the Jeep and trial and error with the Jeep. Now, in my defense, I'm not aired down all the way that I normally run. So I'm still at like 30 PSI. I would normally run probably 18 to 22 on something like this, but we're being lazy, and so far we really haven't had the need to air down. Although I'm gonna be really pissed if I pop a tire. But all right, back to the dash cam.
I don't know if you guys ever heard about the mysterious brown lights from Brown Mtn, but I've heard about this before, and I'll talk a little bit about movies like The X-Files that bring it up, but this is the actual Brown Mtn that we're climbing up. Mysterious lights have been appearing at Brown Mtn in the Linville Gorge area of North Carolina for hundreds of years. According to Cherokee legend, around 1200 AD, a great battle was fought between the Cherokee and Catawba Indians at Brown Mtn, and the mysterious lights are from the Indian maidens who are still searching for their men who died in battle. Many people have tried to explain the origin of the lights over the years. In 1771, a German scientist explained the lights as inflamed nitrous vapors, but that was instantly disputed. A 1913 U.S. Geological Survey concluded that there were headlights from a locomotive, but when the tracks washed away 3 years later and people continued to see the lights, that theory was also thrown out. During the early 1900s, the mysterious lights were thought to be aliens, and Brown Mtn was even featured in an American pulp magazine telling people to go see the UFOs at Brown Mtn. The lights have been reported as being white, red, yellow, orange, and blue. They've been described looking like large balls of fire to small candles, and from floating near the ground to rising high up into the sky. Bluegrass musician Scotty Wiseman wrote a song titled The Legend of the Brown Mtn Lights, and National Geographic has called Brown Mtn one of the 3 best places to experience a natural wonder. Paranormal investigator Joshua Warren has been visiting Brown Mtn since his family took him camping there as a kid. And one such camping trip, Joshua says he saw a ball of light climbing up through the trees and ascending into the sky. He has been returning with equipment and other investigators ever since. What happens at Brown Mtn is up to your own interpretation. All we have here are lights on a mountain, and there are very few places on this earth where you can go explore these types of mysteries. One local story recounts that in 1982, Morganton resident Tommy Hunter said he actually touched the lights on the Highway 181 overlook. He had overlooked an edge and saw a ball of light and was hovering, and he touched it. Tommy said he felt like he had stuck a finger in a light socket. 6 other people were with Tommy that night and corroborated his story. So the light's real. Joshua Warren and Professor Kenton says that it's not even a question anymore. The question is, what are they? For now, at least, they're one of North Carolina's greatest mysteries. So this is from Sherry Jackson from Greenville, South Carolina. She wrote this article for CarolinaCountry.com, and that's the story. So at the top of Brown Mountain, there's, I believe, 2 or 3 dispersed camping spots. I don't know exactly what the rules and regulations are on those camping spots, but they are definitely primitive, only with the fire pit. There's also a lookout up here. We never actually stopped to walk over there because it was so foggy and misty outside, you couldn't see anything anyway. But go right now and Google the Brown Mountain lights and some weird phenomenon with lights around this Brown Mountain and UFOs and aliens. And I believe X-Files did a special on it with the Blue Ridge Parkway and whatnot. On the way down, we did run into a Subaru coming up. We had no idea how he made it past 2 of the obstacles on the way up, but they did. They were just scraping the whole way up. And on Brown Mountain right here, somewhere I lost a bolt out of my rear sway bar, the top link. Somehow the nut and bolt loosened up and came off, so I definitely noticed it on the way back down. The side-to-side sway was really bad, and then I noticed it at the gas station when we got back down that I was missing that bolt for the rear sway bar.
slow there. There you go fast.
Get it, Steve. Get it. Get it.
Well, guys, thanks for watching. As usual, please like and subscribe the video. I've been doing pretty good so far. I think we're 15 people away from hitting 1,000 subscribers, which is kind of a big deal for me. Thanks for watching, and have a good night.